Hi, my name is Fiji. I come from a company called Artastic. Today, as part of St. Patrick's Festival, we're going to be helping you make a costume. I'm here with my friend Katrina.
Hi, I'm Katrina.
As a street theatre company, we make masks, props, large floats, and then throughout the festival season we tour all around Ireland, including St. Patrick's Festival in Dublin. One of my favourite bits with working with a festival is 6 months before we're giving an idea. And over that 6-month process, we're meant to transform from drawing to actually making costumes, to working with groups, to actually on the day itself, to watch the parade actually happen. And watching that whole process of transformation, that's my favourite bit. Now, I'll hand you over to Katrina.
Thanks, Vijay.
And I'll see you again at the end.
So I'm a costume maker, and I'm going to show you how to make a costume from things you might find in your own home. So first we're going to start with a basic t-shirt. Now for this part of the costume, you're going to need some sharp scissors. You're going to need a stapler, and you're also going to need some cardboard. So this is along with your t-shirt. You'll need these strips of cardboard, and we're going to turn those strips of cardboard into a circle like this. So the first thing we're going to do is to start with our t-shirt. So my black t-shirt here is an example of how we're going to cut our t-shirts. So we have the bottom all stripped up and also the sleeves. If your t-shirt has a sleeve, you can cut that up or you can leave it whole. Okay, so now we're going to move on to cutting our t-shirt. We're going to start with the hem down here. We're going to get rid of that. So just where the stitching is, you're just going to cut that all off, and we're going to use that later. And we're just going to cut that hem. Now don't worry if your lines are not straight when you're cutting your t-shirt. You certainly need a sharp scissors, so you might need some adult help with this part. So don't worry too much. So once we've cut off our hem, you're going to put that to one side because we're going to use that later on. So now we need to cut our t-shirt in the strips up the center. So what we're going to do is we're going to start at the bottom of the t-shirt, and we're going to go the middle line first. This will help you in case you go wonky on each side. Your center line will always be the same. If you have a very brightly colored t-shirt, you could easily draw on the lines first with a Sharpie if you prefer to keep you on track. So I'm just going to start cutting, and I'm going to start in the center. And from the center, I'm going to go all the way up to where the arms start. So all the way up to here, and you can see that straight across from the arms. Now we're going to do the next line about 2 inches or so out. You can see that I'm holding the end of the t-shirt as well. You might just need some help with this, get somebody to hold the end to keep the t-shirt from moving. You don't need lots and lots of lines. The more lines you make, the more you'll have to tie onto your hoop later on. And right here at the edge, we're going to go really close to the stitching on your t-shirt. Right up to the arm. Now we're going to do the same on the other side. Again, don't worry too much if your lines are not straight. Now, once we have our long lines done, we need to do a second little line. These little lines are going to be at the bottom of your t-shirt. So once we've cut our long lines up our t-shirt, we need to make a second cut in each of these lines. So in the center of your fabrics at the edges, you need to cut another little line about 3 or 4 inches long. This is to help us to tie the bottom of our t-shirt onto our hoop later on. So do this on each piece. Again, you might need a little bit of help to hold the t-shirt. So I'm cutting 2 at the same time. Now we've all our cutting of our t-shirt complete. We need to move on to making the hoop that goes on the bottom of our t-shirt. So we're going to need some cardboard and we're going to make a hoop like this. So for our cardboard hoop, we need some strips of cardboard like this, about 2 inches wide. And I'm going to show you how to turn that into a hoop. So for the moment, we don't need our t-shirt or the hoop that I've already made. So I'm just going to push them to one side and we're going to use our strips here. So for our cardboard pieces, you need to make sure that you cut them against the grains of the cardboard, so against those corrugations. And what we need to do is we need to break these down afterwards so we can turn them into a nice circle. At the moment, they just want to make square shapes. So you're going to do that by just rub them off the edge of the table, which will break down these cardboard pieces, and you'll get a much nicer curve to make your hoop. So remember the hem that we cut off the bottom of our t-shirt. We're now going to use this as a guide for the size of our hoop. So just pop that down on the table to roughly a circle. What we want to do is we want to make our hoop bigger than that. Now you can make your hoop quite large if you like. Even if you have a hula hoop, you can cheat this part and you could put a hula hoop into it and you could easily take it out afterwards. But for the moment, we'll show you how to do with your cardboard. So take your cardboard, which are now have these nice curved edges on them, and you're just going to place them around your hem. So they're not overlapping loads, but we're just going to get them into a rough circle. There'll be a bit of trial and error with this to kind of find what size you want. So that looks pretty good for me. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the stapler and we're going to staple these pieces. So for our first piece, we are going to staple with the stapler on the inside so that the bottom of the staple is on the outside. This is really important and I'll tell you why. So this first one, second one, and our last one here. And so that's the first part done. So this is still quite flimsy, so we want to have a second layer of cardboard in this. So if we put another piece of cardboard on the outside, we're going to repeat that same process, but this time we're going to turn our staplers the opposite way. Okay, and we're just going to staple these on a little bit at a time. Not too many staples, they'll be quite good at keeping them. And we're just going to reinforce that. Only 2 staples in each piece of cardboard. The reason why is because the staples on the inside can be quite pointy. So you don't want to catch those in your clothes or in your fingers. So the more we have, the more chance that's going to happen. And actually, we're going to take some tape later on and we're going to tape over those parts so that we don't get our fingers caught. So just reinforcing all the way around. If you have bigger pieces of cardboard, you'll have a lot less stapling to do as well. And that is our circle complete. So for those little staples that are sticking out on the inside of your hoop, you need to cover them with a little bit of tape. So some masking tape or some sellotape will do. These little staples here that are popping out. So we're just going to cover them over with a little bit of tape. And you need to go around all of the inside of your hoop to make sure that you cover everything. So now that our hoop is complete, we're going to take our t-shirt and we're going to pop that into the center of our hoop. What we need to do then is we need to take each piece, take it out to our hoop and tie it on. Now at this point, you could actually wear your costume and have somebody tie it while you're wearing it. You can hold on to the hoop and you can have somebody tie all those pieces for you. So I'm just going to go ahead and tie them on here. Now make sure you are tying a double knot in each of these pieces. If you put a single knot, they'll open. So you want a double knot for extra security. So now that we have all our knots tied on our costume, we're going to move on to making our neck piece. We're going to move on to that after the break. Welcome back, guys. So we're going to move on with making our neck piece that we have here behind us. So what you need for this is a big piece of cardboard, as big as you want your neck piece to be. You need a plate that's as big as your head. So you can test that out and see if that's as big as your head. And you're going to need a scissors and a pencil or a pen. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your plate, you are going to pop that right in the center of your cardboard, and you're going to draw around it. So after you've done your circle, you need to add a little V to the bottom of your circle, and this is to help your nose get through this circle when you're putting this over your head. So once you have your center circle done, you're going to move on to doing your outer circle. Now, this doesn't have to be a circle, it can be any shape you want. So I'm just going to curve off my edges here, which is the easiest thing to do. It could also stay square if you prefer. And then we're going to cut out these corners, and we're also going to cut this center piece here. And so here's one we've done earlier. So a quick tip for cutting out this center circle is to actually cut in the back of your piece like this, so that you have access to this center circle. It makes it a lot easier for cutting out. We can tape this up afterwards then. So I have just taped up the top of that neck piece. I've taped that back together. Just to say as well, at this point, it would be really good to make sure, double check that that does fit over your head. Okay, so we're going to move on now to the little piece that we cut off the bottom of our t-shirt. So remember that little hem? That is what we're going to use. So the first thing you're going to do, that is in a circle at the moment. You are going to cut that in one piece. So you've got a long string. You're going to take the center of that and put it to the bottom of your neck piece, just right in the middle. Then you're going to take your stapler and you're just going to pop that in there and give that a big staple. You could even put 2 staples into that. So this is going to act as the strap to tie around your body. Once you put your neck piece on, you wrap it around and you can tie it in a bow at the back. So at this point, you can decide how you want to decorate your neck piece. You can keep it really flat and decorate with different things that you have in your house, different craft items. You can also use some colorful tissue paper and PVA glue, which is a really easy flat way to do your neck piece. But for today, our theme is awakening. And this refers to springtime and leaves and flowers and growth. So we have gone with the idea of leaves and flowers, just like our example here behind me. So for your leaves, you can make many different kinds of leaves. You can make large ones and small ones, all different shapes that you can. Also different colors and different textures is quite good as well. So these are some examples of the leaf shapes that you can make. These ones are the most simple ones. They're like a little half heart almost. These are a little bit more complicated. If you make your leaves really big, you'll have to make less of them. If you make your leaves really small, you'll have to make lots of them to fill your costumes. That might be a good way for you to decide what kind of leaves you're going to make. So I'm going to show you how to make these in a really simple way. I'm going to move these to one side, and here is a sheet of green paper. So I'm just going to fold that over, and we're going to cut 4 leaves at the same time. So if you want to draw your leaves, you can draw them on first. Otherwise, you can just go straight to cutting. All I'm doing is making a pointy circle, really. And we're just going to cut that out. Once you cut this out, you have 4 done at the same time, and that is great. So here we have our 4. So we're also going to make our leaves 3D. So in order to make our leaves 3D, we're just going to cut the center like this, and we're going to slide them over each other, and we're going to staple them. And that is a way to make our costume stand out a lot more. You can also color these in. You can draw lines up them, and you can paint them. So that's a little bit of finger painting here. There's many ways you can decorate these. If you want to leave them plain, they can still look really nice. So for our flower, I'm going to show you how to make a basic daisy design. This is the one that's on our costume here on display in the background. You can make any kind of color of this, any card that you have. You can change the petal shapes and that'll change your flower design. So for this one, we are going to start with an A5 sheet of white paper. And you're going to fold that in half like you're making a little card. And this is just going to enable you to cut more at the same time. So I'm going to fold it a second time. Now this is only if you're able to cut this way. Sometimes it can be tricky to cut more. So you can draw your shape on, just like that, and just give that a cut. And once you cut that, you'll have 4 done at the same time. Now, if you want to cut them singularly, that's absolutely fine as well. So you'll need 8 for your daisy. So I have my daisy here. So I need 8 little petals. I also need a round circle for the center. I need 2 of those. And this is an added extra. I had this lovely shiny paper, so we're going to use some of that as well. If you don't have it, that's fine. You can decorate these as well, whichever way you want. So we are going to stick these together with some glue stick. Okay, so you're going to take your first circle. I'm going to move my daisy out of the way, and you're going to take some glue, and you're just going to put lots and lots of glue on that yellow circle. Then we're going to take our daisy pieces, our little petals, and we're going to pop those on the edge. Now the best thing to do is to go opposites first. Okay, 2 sides, and then do a top and a bottom. That means you won't go wrong. And then you're going to fill in those little gaps. Make sure you've got plenty of glue onto this. And once you've got all your petals done, you need a little extra glue, and you're going to pop your other circle on. So at this point, you should have all your leaves cut out. You should have them stapled so that they're a little bit more 3D. And what we're going to do is going to add those onto our neck piece. So starting on the outside of our neck piece, if we can get 2 layers in, that would be really great. So what we're going to do is we're going to take either a glue stick or some PVA glue, and you're just going to put lots and lots of glue. You really need to be able to see the glue that you're putting on. If you don't put on enough, these are just going to fall off. So lots and lots of glue, and you're just going to press one side of your leaf down. If you try to press both down, because you've made it a little 3D, one side is going to want to pop off. So you're just going to put one little side on, and then take the next one, slide it in behind, and press that one down too. So you can fill your entire neck piece with these leaves, but it would be great if you can try to find some different colors and different textures of leaves to use as well, just like we have on our example here. So this is our costume complete. We've used some really nice bright colors, so whatever your favorite color is, feel free to use that in your costume. It doesn't have to be green because it's leaves. It can be whatever your imagination desires. So now I'd like to welcome back Fiji.
Thank you very much. That was really wonderful. I hope you enjoyed it.
Certainly did.
And I hope all of you enjoyed it too. And I really like the costume. Lots of really lovely ideas in that. We'd like you to take these ideas and help your virtual parade at home. And remember, it's not just a costume, but you can also decorate your garden or inside your house, wherever you're going to have a parade. Just decorate all around it.
So don't forget, we will also have a downloadable link for you to bring you through the costume making process. This will have different information and different ideas that you can utilize to make the experience even more memorable.
So for now, I'd like to wish you a bye and wish you a very, very happy St. Patrick's Day parade.
Bye.